Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and for the last week I've been driving the 2026 Genesis GV70 Sport Prestige. Up front is a 3.5 liter twin turbo V6, and down below is an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now I'm super excited to be making this video here today because I've spent the last week driving the GV70 and I really love where Genesis is at the current moment. I think this is a pretty quality product. There's a lot of fun features in here and it has a red interior, so I am a happy boy here today. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. Let's get back to that 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 under the hood. Well, it makes 375 horsepower. It makes a very premium feeling horsepower. Is this gonna chuck you into your seat as you corner around the Nürburgring at unreal speeds? No, this isn't that sort of vehicle. This isn't a very straight line, blood pumping car. It's a very premium experience. When you put your foot down, you do accelerate. There's not a whole lot of fanfare and a lot of fuss that goes with it. It's very straightforward and it works. It works very well. Like I said, paired to it is an 8-speed automatic transmission. This is pretty much an industry standard for most vehicles of the segment. 8 speeds tends to be pretty comfortable, however, way less complex than a 10-speed, and it helps just get a little bit better fuel economy. Last but not least, of course, the GV70 is all-wheel drive. So how does it feel to drive the GV70? Well, it does have a really nice driving feel, and it has a very premium feel. You are relatively isolated from the road. Big bumps aren't taken so personally. It's smooth. It has a quiet cabin while driving around. This truly is a fantastic luxury experience. That V6 twin turbo also is pretty powerful, a lot more powerful than what you would find at Lexus or Acura. So I like that they definitely have those companies beat in that way. But overall, very premium, and that's my takeaway from the driving feel. Visibility fine, ride quality good. Great. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a completely digital gauge cluster. I really like this. It's very clean, simple, and easy to read. Not much has changed, or anything has really changed from the 2025 model year, but that's okay, and I like it. On the steering wheel, on the left, we do have our adaptive cruise and lane keep assist buttons, and off to the right, we have our selectors, volume, voice commands, favorite, and phone options. Off to the left, we do have our gauge dimmer switch, tailgate release, traction control off, and hill descent control, as well as our power parking brake finished in red. I love that touch. And moving on to the door, we have our Bang & Olufsen speaker, 2 levels of memory seats, power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. Moving into the center, we get our continuation of that gauge cluster screen, so it is binded together to look like one giant screen. And I like that. I think it works well. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Nothing really too crazy in here in terms of features. However, it is pretty clear and concise. And we do get a 360 camera, which is always appreciated in any kind of SUV. Down below, we do get 2 climate control vents, as well as some physical buttons for our volume, navigation, media, seek track, setup, and tune. And down below, we do have a touchscreen for some of our climate controls. We get physical dials for dual zone climate, which is very nice, but then the rest is touchscreen. Honestly, I found this to be not laggy at all, very responsive, and it works. We have heated and ventilated seats, we have a heated steering wheel, and we can control where the airflow is going for each side of the vehicle. So the passenger can decide their own airflow pattern as opposed to the driver. Moving on to the center console, we have our automatic start stop on and off, our drive mode select, parking sensors on and off, and parking camera. For the drive modes, we have Eco, Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, and My Mode. And for terrain mode, we have Snow, Mud, and Sand. And then we have some selectors in the center. So we do have a selector wheel for the infotainment if you don't want to touch it. We have buttons for back, home, and menu. And then we have our shifter down below that. This is not the crystal ball shifter from Genesis. It's very simple and easy to use. However, I don't like that the dial and the shifter are so close to one another while being equal size. This could definitely be a little bit confusing for first-time drivers. However, off to the right, we do have cup holders. We will do a big friggin' bottle test, and I'm very happy to report that the GV70 from 2026 passes the big friggin' bottle test, starting the year on a high note. Then we do get a wireless charger, 2 USB-Cs in the center console, and a 12-volt outlet. Then you'll notice the red interior. So we do have red seats. The driver's seat only is a massage seat. Genesis calls it their Ergo Motion seat. And you can select through a couple different things. So just the driver's seat is massage. The passenger does not get that. However, they are heated, ventilated, power memory. They are great. They are very, very comfortable, and they have active bolsters. When you hit above 70 or 80 miles an hour, it does sort of hug you tighter, which is very, very cool. And then it releases once you get back down below 70 or 60 miles an hour. So very cool that it has that. Kind of freaked me out the first time, but now it's a more loving hug when I hit highway speeds. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats. So let's go do a back seat review. All right, getting in the back of the Genesis GV70, all back seat reviews for 2026 will be handheld. Once we are in here, close the door. Not a whole ton of space. As you can see, my knees are about to touch the seat in front of me. However, we do have these cutouts here and here, make it a little bit more livable. If I spread a little bit, I'm fine. Once we come down here, we do have our heated seats for the second row, as well as climate controls, fan speed, things like that, and temperature control. Love to see that. And we do get a wall outlet as well as 2 USB-Cs. Coming up here, we do have some cup holders. But overall, I love that the red carries on. I love this roof up here, and I fit pretty well. I am 5'11", not a small guy, and I fit in the back seat. Headroom is really good. Knee room's a little bit squished, but not as bad. Plus, the driver could be nice and move up, so not the end of the world. This is going to be pretty good. Now, something really cool is that you do get buttons on this seat, so you can move this seat forward. If you do ride share or you're picking up a VIP, you can scoot this pretty far forward. Just takes a moment. And then look at that. I mean, with this quilted leather and the space now given, I mean, this is really a first-class experience. So very, very cool to see all of that. A lot of Korean cars, especially like Hyundai's and Genesis products, have the buttons on the side here. So very, very cool. But now, let's hop into the trunk. There's a button underneath the windshield wiper. I like how it's high up. A lot of cars put it down low, sometimes even towards the license plate. And I think people with bad backs will really struggle with that. So it's nice that it's high up. Once we are back here, nothing really too crazy to report. We do get a 12-volt outlet over here. Love to see that. We have buttons like this so we can fold the seats down. There we go, and there we go. And they should fold flat. The headrests are just hitting the seat in front of them, but they do fold flat, and that is very, very nice. We can pull this up. We do have some storage down here. Very nice. So overall, plenty of space in the back of the GV70. Very, very nice to see. We can lock it up here or use the power tailgate right back down. Simple, nothing really too crazy, but I like it a lot. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I do like the look of the Genesis GV70. I don't think it's overly striking. I don't really love the rear 3/4 of it, and the fact that it is red on red, I just don't love red on red cars, even though I've owned a red on red car. That was different. I like the look of it. I don't think it's a bad looking car. I just don't think it's like this overall, like, you know, jaw dropping, beautiful masterpiece Picasso vehicle. It's nice. It's handsome. And you know what? At the end of the day, it's dignified. It has dignity when driving around, and I can't say that about all luxury cars. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the GV70 for the last week? Well, I am happily impressed with it. I've driven a lot of their products before, and actually I started the 2025 year on shooting cars with the GV80. Now we're starting the 2026 year with the GV70. I like it. Overall, I really, really enjoy this car. I think it has great fit and finish. It has good power. It's comfortable, has great features. This truly does feel like a luxury car. And I know that might be facetious to say, but again, not all luxury cars like really truly feel luxurious. The GV70 certainly does. The biggest standout thing to me, and the thing that I always bring up whenever someone asks me about Genesis, first of all, I always say yes, it's a very legitimate luxury company. They do great cars, all of that. The other thing I always have to say is look at where Hyundai was 30 years ago. Let's just say just 26 years ago, the year 2000, what Hyundai and Kia were producing. I'm going to put a couple of their vehicles up on the screen, Hyundai and Kia, of what they were building 26 years ago. The idea that the same company in such a relatively short amount of time has gone from vehicles like that to vehicles like this is nothing short of astounding. Genesis has pulled themselves up by the bootstraps even, let's just say, 16 years ago. The Hyundai Genesis sedan with its 5-liter V8 was good and nice and sweet, but it wasn't like this super luxurious car. It was still losing out to Lexus and Acura of the time. Now, this is standing head and shoulders above. So that's the thing. That's what I take to this review. I've driven the older Hyundai products. I've driven the older Kia products. And the idea that this comes out of the same company is just wonderful. I am so incredibly proud and so incredibly impressed by what Genesis has been able to do over the last several years. Anytime someone says, hey, I want a somewhat luxurious sedan, G70, go buy a G70 yesterday, especially with the depreciation that they go through. You can find a quality 2023 used G70 for high 30s. That's way better than any Camry you're going to find. And so the fact that this fights so well with legacy companies is just great. That deserves a standing ovation. And I hope that Genesis gets its flowers because it certainly deserves them. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Genesis for letting me borrow their GV70 for the last week. Huge thank you to Drive Shop for facilitating the cleaning and delivery of this vehicle. And of course, the Midwest Automotive Media Association. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Happy 2026. I'm so incredibly excited to share what I have in store for you guys. But don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, subscribe if you really liked it, and roll the new outro. Take care, guys.